Hi, I'm going to be talking about our paper, Anonymity and Rewards in Peer Rating Systems, and this is joint work with my co-authors Elizabeth Quaglia, Siaw-Lynn, and Giulia Traverso. I'm Lydia Garms. So firstly, rating systems. So a rating or reputation system assigns a user a reputation value based on feedback from other users. And this reputation value can be seen as a metric of trustworthiness or merit or potentially reliability, and they do play a fundamental role in our online activities. So often choices based on what product to buy are based on reputation or what restaurant to go to. So there are lots of choices that are made that are often influenced by reputation. And we focus on centralised rating systems, which involve a reputation server, and this holds a reputation value for each user. So anonymity is important in rating systems, and this is because users should be able to give honest feedback without the fear of repercussions or negative consequences, or even potentially like blackmail. So there's a lot of existing work on providing anonymity of ratings in centralised rating systems, and in some cases this is to all but the reputation server, who has the power to de-anonymise ratings, and this is to allow for traceability in the cases that a particular rating is not within community guidelines or potentially abusive, and it allows the reputation to only in rare situations de-anonymise the user and punish them or revoke them from the system. And there's also been a lot of work that's ensured anonymity of ratings and centralised rating systems or reputation systems in the presence of a corrupted reputation server as well. So as I mentioned before, unfortunately anonymity can allow misbehaviour such as bad mouthing because there are less consequences for your actions when you are anonymous. And the existing work has addressed this through tracing, so by revoking the malicious user's anonymity and punishing them. However, in this work we take a slightly different approach, so we instead reward users who have rated honestly, while still preserving the anonymity of ratings, even with respect to the reputation server. And we also weight feedback by reputation. And there's two benefits to this strategy. So one of the benefits is we can still allow some anonymity even to the central servers. And secondly, there's been some existing work that has showed for a particular scheme that did reward users who rate honestly, that they could show game theoretically that users then were encouraged to rate honestly. And we also weight feedback by reputation, which was also one of the tactics used by the existing work that gave the game theoretical guarantees. So there are two main obstacles to the approaches we're taking. So firstly, if feedback is weighted by reputation, then clearly the reputation value could help de-anonymise users. So for example, if your reputation value is 5.501, that's going to clearly identify you because not many users are going to have that reputation. And the solution to this, which is used widely in reputation systems, because this is a problem in a lot of different cases, is to use coarse-grained reputation. So for example, your reputation value would be rounded to 5.5, and this would reveal less information about your identity. And clearly there's a trade-off here between precision of reputation and anonymity. So the second obstacle is that in order to incentivize accurate ratings, we first need to de-anonymise them. And the solution to this is we incentivize all users simultaneously responsible for a large set of ratings. And so all we get to see is that a user who's being rewarded was responsible for one of a large set of ratings, which helps. However, these solutions both still reduce the anonymity sets of ratings, particularly when combined. So you can sort of see that if a particular rating is rewarded, then it's already shown that it's authored by one of a set of users, who were rewarded, and also we can then use the reputation of that user to de-anonymise them even further and reduce the anonymity set even further. So for both cases, restricting access to a user's reputation helps, because this obviously helps to stop the de-anonymisation of ratings by a reputation. And also we can't see which users are rewarded because we can't see which users' reputations increase. And we do this by giving the reputation holder the right to manage this, and they control who gets to see the users' reputations. And this can be done in lots of different ways for different applications. So one strategy would be to only allow a user's reputation to be revealed if they allow it. Another could be potentially a user has to show them that they actually do need that reputation of another user. So we also introduced the rewarder, who receives feedback and chooses which ratings to reward. And now no entities know both which users are being rewarded and which ratings are being rewarded. So they can't put these together to potentially de-anonymise the ratings. If the two do collude, however, they can learn a bit more. However, they should only learn that each user that was rewarded n times, or that n of the ratings awarded. That's all they should learn. Which is the highest possible, which is only impossible to avoid given our functionality. So now I'm going to go over the model. So as I mentioned before, the reputation server is now split into a reputation holder and a rewarder. And the reputation holder enrolls users, holds these users' reputation values, updates these, and also collects incentive claims, which are users to update their reputations. The rewarder collects ratings, discards multiple ratings on the same subject, and outputs incentives. And the users rate other users and also claim incentives from the reputation holder. So I'm going to give a bit more detail about that in the next few slides. So all of the entities should all hold their own secret key. There's also a group public key. And each user should hold their own user secret key, which they obtain after an interactive joining protocol with the reputation holder. So now I'm going to go over how ratings at each round work. So a user has a reputation R and a reputation token omega, and I'm going to explain where they get this token from later. And they need to rate all other users with a particular piece of feedback. And they perform rate, and as a result of this, they output a rating row and a trapdoor. And they then can send all of these ratings to the rewarder, along with the subject of the rating, so the user, who they're rating, the feedback, and their own reputation. So the rewarder first needs to check that all of these ratings are valid, and then they need to use these to calculate a reputation value based on this. So they collect all of the feedback given on a particular user, and they input this to form rep1, which outputs r dash, and this can be sent to the reputation holder for each user and used to update their reputation. So now I'm going to describe how accurate feedback is incentivized. So first of all, the rewarder needs to choose which ratings they think they should be rewarded, and they input all these ratings to incent along with their secret key, and output K1 incentives, which are broadcasted publicly. So the user can now see these incentives, and they can see that these correspond to their ratings, and they've saved a trapdoor, and they use the rating, the trapdoor, and the incentives to output an incentive claim sigma with collect incent. And they send all of these incentive claims for all of the ratings that were rewarded to the reputation holder. And this should be via an authenticator channel, because the reputation holder needs to know which user was responsible so that they can reward them. And all they should learn is that the user was responsible for K2 of the ratings rewarded. So the reputation holder now needs to check all of these incentive claims to make sure that they are valid, and they use form rep2 to first of all check to make sure the user hasn't tried to claim the same incentive twice, and this outputs r dash dash. And the reputation holder now can use r dash and r dash dash to update the reputation of that user. So one final thing is, I mentioned before that when rating, the user has access to their reputation and also a reputation token which they need to sign for a particular reputation. However, this reputation token can no longer be used for the next round, so the reputation holder needs to generate a new reputation token for them for the next round using allocate rep, which is then sent to the users. So now I'm going to discuss the security requirements, starting with anonymity of ratings. So ratings cannot be de-anonymized or linked by users, provided that multiple ratings on the same user per round are not given, because this could be considered to be cheating. And in order to ensure this, we also need to ensure that ratings cannot be linked to the corresponding incentive claim, because as incentive claims are sent authenticated, this would then de-anonymize the rating. And so we split anonymity into two requirements. Firstly, under a corrupt reputation holder, ratings cannot be de-anonymized or linked by the reputation holder at all. And when we consider full corruption of both the rewarder and the reputation holder, we still want the strongest anonymity possible to be achieved. And this is that the anonymity should learn no more than a user that has been rewarded n times per round is responsible for n of the rewarded ratings for that round. So now I'm going to describe the additional security requirements. So firstly, traceability. This ensures that multiple ratings cannot be given on the same user per round. And this ensures that we don't have the attack that I mentioned, where you simply send lots and lots of feedback on the same user and unfairly influence their reputation. Secondly, enforceability of reputation. This ensures that a user cannot lie about their reputation when giving ratings, and so make their feedback count for more than it should. Next, non-frameability. Users should not be able to be impersonated when giving ratings or claiming incentives, because in the case of ratings, this could invalidate the real feedback given by that user because it looks like a double rating, and then that be counted as cheating. And also with incentives, again, that would invalidate the real incentive claim because that would look like double spending. Fair rewards. A user should only be able to successfully claim for the number of incentives they were actually rewarding. So there should be no double spending, and they only should be able to claim for incentives that they actually have earned. So now I'm going to give an overview of our construction that we've proven secure in that model. So I'm going to go over the building blocks first. So our first building block is linkable ring signatures. And ring signatures allow a member of a group to sign on behalf of that group without revealing the identity within this group. And they don't require a central entity, unlike a group signature scheme. So a user can generate their own secret and public key themselves. So linkable ring signatures allow signatures that originate from the same secret key to be linked together. And this is different than the standard ring signatures, which all signatures should be unlinkable by user. So our second building block is direct anonymous attestation. And this also allows a member of a group of users to sign on behalf of that group without revealing the identity. They do require a central entity, unlike ring signatures. So a new user joins the scheme via an interactive protocol with the issuer and obtain a secret key as a result of this. So DAA has user-controlled linkability. So messages are signed with respect to a base name, and signatures on the same base name with the same signer can be linked together. So you can see that in a way this allows users to control their own linkability because they can choose the base names when they want signatures to be linked to be the same, and otherwise choose different base names. So we need to modify the DAA building block slightly. So we need that ratings can be weighted by reputation and that users cannot lie about their reputation. And as ratings are anonymous, it's actually not easy to detect this because we can't check to see if the users use the real reputation. And so we bind reputation to a DAA scheme, and we will call this resulting scheme a DAA star scheme. And new users users are issued with a reputation token for a given round, and they can only sign with respect to the corresponding reputation to that reputation token. So now I'm going to give a high-level overview of our construction. So for each rating, a new signing and verification key are generated for a linkable ring signature scheme, and the trapdoor is the signing key. The user also signs their feedback with a DAA star signature, and the base name is chosen to be the user being rated and the round. And so the rating includes the DAA star signature as well as the verification key, but encrypted under the rewarder's public key. So when the rewarder receives this, they can first verify the DAA star signature and use the user-controlled linkability feature to check for multiple ratings on the same subject. And then they can decrypt the verification keys and for the ratings that they want to reward, use these decrypted verification keys as incentives. So to claim an incentive, the user recognises the verification key that corresponds to their rating, and they can generate a ring signature using the trapdoor, which is the secret signing key that they've saved, on the ring of verification keys output by the rewarder. And these correspond, so this is possible. Okay, so now I'm going to give an overview of why our construction satisfies the security requirements that I've already discussed. So firstly, traceability. And this is ensured by the user-controlled linkability of DAA star, because this ensures that signatures with the same base name can be linked, and the base name in this case is set to be the subject, i.e. the user, and the round. So multiple feedback cannot be given per subject. So unforgeability of reputation is ensured due to our modification in DAA star that ensures that reputation is bound to the signatures, so users cannot lie about their reputations. So the non-frameability requirement is achieved due to the non-frameability of linkable ring signatures, which ensures that the adversary cannot frame users when claiming incentives, and the non-frameability of DAA star, which ensures that the adversary cannot frame users when rating. So the fair rewards requirement is achieved due to the linkability of linkable ring signatures, because if you try and claim for the same rating twice, you'll be using the same signing key twice, and this means that these incentive claims will be linkable, and therefore multiple claims for the same rating can be detected. So now I'm going to discuss why the anonymity requirements are satisfied. So for anonymity under a corrupt reputation holder, incentive claims cannot be linked to the ratings because the verification keys in the ratings are encrypted under the rewarder's public key, and we're not assuming in this case that the rewarder has been corrupted. The anonymity of DAA star then ensures anonymity of ratings. Considering anonymity under full corruption, incentive claims cannot be linked to ratings because of the anonymity of linkable ring signatures. So we cannot determine which of the verification keys the ring signature originated from, and therefore we cannot discover which rating the incentive claim originated from. The anonymity of DAA star then ensures anonymity of ratings. So to conclude, we've introduced an anonymous peer rating system that allows accurate ratings to be incentivized, feedback to be weighted by reputation, and multiple feedback on the same subject to be detected, while still ensuring that ratings remain anonymous even to the central entities. We provided a formal security model for such a scheme, and given an efficient construction that is provably secure in this model. and this is based on direct anonymous attestation and linkable ring signatures and public key encryption scheme. So a little bit of more on the further work. So I mentioned before that some existing work introduces a particular peer rating scheme that follows the strategies of weighting feedback and incentivizing accurate ratings, and it's shown game theoretically to encourage users to rate accurately. However, this scheme does not take into account anonymity of ratings, and everything relies on the central server behaving in a trustworthy way. So for future work, it would be interesting to determine whether our scheme, or potentially our scheme under certain parameters, can be shown game theoretically to incentivize accurate ratings. So thank you very much for listening. That will be all.